Thank you for coming. I hope you guys had a long trip here. How long was the drive?
This was like over an hour. I was actually telling Renee, I was like, dude, sometimes I feel like our friendship with him is like a fever dream. Like sometimes I'm like, man, me and this guy are friends. He lives on the other side of town.
Yeah, but
We,
Houston's kind of crazy like that though. Like
it is,
everybody's
it
just like
is,
everywhere.
but you are like, wow, like Cyprus and League City are
Yeah, how
like
did?
polar
But it's
opposites.
crazy how we ended up becoming friends though. Like and we're so far away.
Yeah, that is
But it
true.
works out. We still the fact that we still find time to like hang out and like meet in the middle and things like that. Like I feel like a lot of people would just be like, dude, this is too far. Like,
Yeah. I mean, I have friends in this area, but there's none of them that I like come out to see. You're
yeah,
like the only one. It's like, damn, that's wild. It's wild.
I
Yeah.
appreciate you, big dog.
So what should we begin talking about? NASA, aliens, Jeffrey
Man.
Epstein,
Oh my god.
Scientology.
Scientology. Oh my god. I'm an open book, you know what I'm saying? So you ask me the question and I'll
Okay.
answer. I'll try to be as professional. Well, I'm probably not gonna be that professional actually.
You do you. Because I love the way that you are.
Okay, appreciate that.
So this time is really beginning.
I don't hear that a lot actually. I love the way that you are. People I don't
Really
yeah, no.
interesting.
Yeah, people they look at me and they go, "Why are you this way?" No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Like, please change. Actually,
Oh my goodness.
no, I'm kidding. I'm kidding.
This is kind of a somber note, but all friendships expire. And
Wow, that's got a little depressing fast.
no, but I was thinking about it because this British guy I was talking to, I was like, "Hey, who are your friends? Are your coworkers friends? Who are your friends?" And he was just telling me, I really don't have that many friends. My best friend, who was actually my groom man at my
Mm,
wedding, and I was his at his, we don't talk to each other anymore. It's like no bad blood, but we just don't.
yeah, it just kind of fell
And I
apart.
was thinking about, it, I was like, man, all friendships have expiration dates,
Yeah,
including this one. That's like a sad note.
damn.
And it doesn't even have to be like bad blood or anything. It
It
could
could just
just
be
be like,
death.
it could be death, and that's happened to me actually.
Oh, really?
I've
Damn.
had
Oh,
friends that
sorry about
just they
that.
died. Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's something. But I'm glad we're doing this because that's one of those things
No,
too.
that's true, right? Because this like video footage gets to some extent. I don't want to say immortalized, but like it's up there. It's there forever. So when you capture this moment, now it's there. And so even if the friendship, for whatever reason, hopefully death, right? Well, not that I'm hoping we die, but hopefully we're friends for so long that like it's a natural cause. It's not like we actually ended up
Yeah.
having a bad blood. But if it does, you always know like that footage is out there, and you can always like if you have kids, you can show your kids. You can be like, hey, like I did these podcasts with all my friends or all the people I knew, and then show it to them, and then it's like a memento,
Yeah.
So
It really is.
so I'm glad you had me on the podcast. I really wanted to be like a special number. 127 isn't round at all, but I'll take it. I'll take I'll take it. I will make it special.
Yeah.
I will make 127 a special number. So
Yeah, you definitely will. Dude, one of the coolest things about you was before I met you, I was going through something
oh yeah.
and I was asking like a bunch of different people for advice, and they were all telling me the same thing. But for some reason, it just wouldn't register. And then I met you and I told you about this, and you laid all the facts to me at an ice cream store.
Yeah.
And suddenly it felt like it broke a spell.
Well,
And
yeah.
it's interesting, like you can hear something from so many different people.
That's so true though.
It doesn't work, and then one person in particular say it changes everything.
No, I think I agree with that 100%. Like there's definitely been times where like you watch like a bunch of reels of like motivation shit and you just keep swiping through and they're like, you gotta fight. Like you're drowning. That's how bad you gotta want it. And you're just like, all right, man. But then there's like one dude that says something like really like touches your heart. Like imagine if you're so weak, couldn't even pick up like your kids and like shit, and then you're like, whoa, like you know what I mean? And like now it touched you in a different way. So yeah, I think a lot of times it really just matters like how the message was delivered, how it was said, even if it's the same thing over and over again. But it's funny because that time when I was telling you all that stuff, like I think maybe there was a feeling of like, since I don't know you that well, I was a little bit more just like loose with it, where I was like maybe not as like caring. Maybe I don't say caring, but like catering to your feelings or anything, which maybe I would have done if we were at that point closer. Maybe I would have felt like, oh man, like he's gone, he went through something. Let me be a little bit more like delicate with my words. But the fact that we weren't, maybe that's what let me just be like, dude, like, you know what I mean? Which is interesting, right? Because it may be that version of me was able to deliver advice that this version might not be able to. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So sometimes timing matters too. It's not like it's not even just the person. It's like, what was at what point was it told to you, and
Yeah.
what point in your relationship was it told to you?
You and me, I feel like, are very different people than the ones that first met each other. Yeah.
That's true.
The
That's true.
one time I ever showed up to outreach in the barrio
Yeah.
to help the homeless was the one time I met you.
You know what's funny about that? I was really going to that stuff for two objectives. One was to meet a potential partner, and then two, to make some friends. Moved to Houston a couple years ago. I'm just saying that stuff, so if it wants to be captured, you obviously know that. But I moved here 2 years ago, and then I didn't. I think I would say for the first 6 months or so, I didn't really make a lot of friends. I would just be constantly thinking about like I want to go back to Dallas, like I want to drive back to Dallas. So every like weekend or so, every other weekend, I'd go back, and I wasn't establishing any like roots here. So there'd be no reason for me to want to stay. And then one day I was like, I really got to like get into like the community. I got to start making friends and stuff. And so I started going to the masjid a lot more. Not to say I wasn't going to the masjid before, but like now it was like I was staying for those after programs and all that stuff. And that's when I found out about that homeless thing that somebody told me they're doing these like outreach in the barrios. They're doing this like we donate to the homeless. And then Abdullah actually, he's the one who actually added me to the group chat. And then when I was in the group chat, then I was like, okay, this is a good opportunity. I can meet some people. I'll be, making some sandwiches, potentially meeting a potential missus, who knows, saving the homeless, maybe even making some friends. I was like, this is perfect. So then that's what got me going there. And that's really how I was using it. I was just using it as a way to make friends. Because it's hard to just walk up to somebody randomly and be like, hey, my name is, you want to be friends? Like
Especially in the real world.
Yeah, it's tough. It's awkward. And it's like people, I think, already are so busy, they don't have space to add like a new person in their lives a lot of the times. I think you're always very open to meet new people, but I think generally most people are like they have enough friends, they got a lot going on, and they're not trying to, add more people. But when you're in something where there's an activity happening, when something's going on, like we're all trying to do something, we're making fat lunches, a natural conversation just happens. Like, oh, just pass me the mustard, pass me this, and I'm like, I don't know. And then you end up just talking more casually, maybe cracking some jokes, and then it leads to an easier friendship. So it's funny because that my purpose of coming there was literally obviously to meet Miss, but two to make friends. So I'm glad. And I think Renee was there too, right?
He was there. That was the one time
that you guys
ever showed up as well. Yeah.
Crazy.
Yeah.
It's crazy how that works. But you know what makes me think like that? Perhaps I should go more then. If I was able to meet you and Renee, but like one of the few times I went there, and then not the only, but the first time I went to +1, I think even I met Hassan, and so
yes,
and so like maybe I should go more actually, and maybe but
yeah. And I remember to this day I was like this close to not even going.
Oh yeah.
And Renee was not even coming at all. And then I told him, dude, I'm picking you up. Like, come out. And then he shows up.
It was my energy pulling you toward me.
It was your energy.
It's fate.
Yeah. Wild.
It was crazy because I was saying all kinds of wild ass shit that day.
What?
I was just saying the dumbest stuff. Do you remember?
What were you saying?
Talking about Japan. Who went to Japan? Somebody went to
Japan.
Renee. Renee even to Japan. And like making fun of it. I was just saying so much like nonsensical stuff. Do you remember? I was just like talking at my ass the whole day.
Well, I mean, you got the jokes. I mean, you are a comedian.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. I do take pride in my humor. I do have the funniness. I hope.
I think the coolest memory I have with you is at Camaria when we stayed there until the middle of the night.
Yeah.
2 or 3 in the morning.
You're the first person I told about my lady. FYI. I think it was what day? What do you remember?
It was a Saturday night. I was at a dawah and then I pulled up.
Yeah, it might have been like a week, literally like a week after me and Iman had begun our little, love story.
Well,
Yeah, and I was like, oh, um, I was telling you about how me, like obviously my parents know, and we're trying to like go take Rista, but we want to go to Umrah first and all that stuff. And I was like a little worried. I was like, dang, I hope this goes through, because she's great. She checks every box. I like, really like her. She's better than I would have imagined. And I was a little nervous. I was like, man, I really hope this doesn't end up being like, because my parents were not hesitant, but they were just like, we want you to be sure. Let's go to Umrah. Let's make sure that you don't make like a rash decision. Um, and it was hard to talk to anybody else because I don't like to share things before they happen. Because like I don't say it's necessarily just nuzzer, maybe that too, but also like a feeling of like a little bit of embarrassment and like explanation. So like if you tell somebody like, hey, like I interviewed for a job and then you don't get the job, then you have to explain to them like, oh yeah, I didn't get it in this. That was just embarrassing. And then so like I usually like to wait until I like the thing is done. And so I didn't want to tell any of my cousins or my relatives or my even the friends I was really really close with, like my best friend Bilal, for example. I didn't even tell him. I was like, but I was like, I could tell you because it felt like there was no trace back. Like there's no way my mom, my dad, my sister, my cousin, nobody knows you. If I can tell you openly, and that's when I was like, you're the first one I told. I just like completely told you all the details. And you're a really good listener too. Like you really like listen, you ask questions, you make the person want to tell the story. Um, but yeah, that is one of my favorite memories with you as well. And then it's great because right after that, like alhamdulillah, I think the next time we met, I was like either Bakbaki or almost Bakbaki. And then from there, like, the wedding now 2 weeks away, Nikah in 2 weeks.
wow,
Come through, guys.
wow,
Come through. Open
yeah,
invite. Just Hotel Masjid.
yeah. I'm happy for you. Like that's so cool. These days, there's just so much pressure to get married young.
Mm,
You, I think, are a pretty good age to be
yeah,
getting married.
27.
But what was it like
Alhamdulillah.
for you up until this point? Like just being patient and
I was slaying, bro. No, I had no problem. No, just kidding. No, just kidding. I was like, I was having trouble rejecting the women. I was like, you get away from me. You stay back. Like, hey. No, I'm joking. But no, it wasn't actually hard at all. I'm very like organized in the way that I guess I wanted to live my life, and so like I was intentional about it. Like I really wanted to focus on my career. I wanted to get through school. I wanted to have a job, and then I was like, then I'll start thinking about girls in that sense. That doesn't mean that I wasn't, like a smooth criminal, stuff for a lot. Never did anything wrong. No stuff for a lot. But obviously, like I felt like I generally got somewhat attention from girls, so I always felt like confident enough that like if I was ready to be in the market, I feel like I could, you know, um, be a desirable choice and like be able to get a girl and get married. Um, but I just didn't want to rush the process. Um, and what's funny, even with Iman, like I think even that was actually a bit early. I was planning to wait now at this point that I am right now till 27, or maybe not. It wasn't about the years. Honestly, years are irrelevant to me. It was more about like where am I at in that point in my life. And so I wanted to wait until right now, where I'm at financially, career wise, and everything. And then I wanted to be like, okay, now I'm gonna start looking for or getting serious about a wife. But when like I told you, me and Iman saw each other at a wedding. We were all seated together. I started making some sexist jokes about how women need to be changing diapers and men need to be men don't be. I'm not gonna be changing no diapers. That's what I was saying. And her energy was much more like she kind of played along with it. Like she was kind of messing with your back. She was like, "Oh my god, he's Mr. Alpha over here. You can't change diapers." And like she was like teasing me back, and I think, and then we just kind of hit it off, like where she was like, honestly, I kind of like a more like traditional lifestyle. That doesn't mean like I'm never gonna change a diaper. We can note here, I'll change my kids' diaper, but like obviously generally more traditional. Like the man is more in charge of the finances, or like more responsible for providing, and the woman's more like responsible for the home stuff. But that doesn't mean that like she can't ever work or something, or he can't ever help out in the house, right? It's just more like primary responsibility of man, provide, secondary is house stuff, and then vice versa for the girl. And then I was getting that vibe from her, and then I started thinking like, because I've actually known her enough in the sense that we were in the same community. We weren't like close friends or anything, but like I'd see her around, I'd see her at Dalwoods and stuff like that. We had mutual friends, but I always thought like she would not be that type of girl. I thought she'd be a little bit too like feminist for me, a little bit too hard headed and like women's rights and all that shit. Stuff a lot. You're a feminist. I support you. But she but then when she was giving me that responses back, I was like, okay, now like I realized like that was my only mental block. That kind of opened me up to being like I obviously thought she looked nice. I think she's a relatively decent girl. She's really good with family. Also, she's very family oriented. She's culturally very like Pakistani. She listens to all the music and the songs and the food and the desi clothes and all that. Like what I would want. But the only thing I think I had a mental block was that. Once that got cleared, I was like, dang, maybe I should go for this girl. And then like I kept thinking about it. Obviously, eventually, I was like, yes, this is the one. I want to marry her. I'm going to marry her. And so it still came a bit early, honestly, but I was still close enough. Like I would say a year ago, I still felt confident enough, or I was close enough to where I wanted to be in life that I was like, okay, that's fine. If we get pot lucky now, and by the time we actually get married, I feel like I'll be mentally in a place and financially and everything in a place where I actually can marry her. So anyway, that was a very long answer, but basically, yeah, I kind of planned my life out. Alhamdulillah. Also, God plans life. I just want to be clear. Like, alhamdulillah, Allah has been very, giving me a lot of blessings. But like, kind of how I wanted to do it was like focus on my career, get myself right mentally, whatever I want to do, in that sense, and then hopefully I'll meet the girl. And I think it worked out really perfectly. I kind of met her at the right time as I was kind of getting close to my point where I wanted to be. And now, alhamdulillah, we're getting married 2 weeks. And I feel good. Like I feel like I'm at the perfect place I want to be in terms of getting married. Um, but yeah, I would say prior years, like I wasn't actively looking either. Like sure, there was a girl trying to, what I'm saying, I was trying to slide in my DMs, I'm sure, but I also was not actively like even interested in like seriously getting married. So I think maybe that's kind of the difference for a lot of guys is like everyone like I think most people, I don't say guys in general, most people are trying to figure out everything in order, which is fine. I'm not saying my way is better or something, but they're kind of getting simultaneously disappointed that they're not able to find a girl or not able to find a guy, get married, and then they're also working on their career, and they're also working on mental health or fitness or whatever it is. And so, but I just kind of put that on the back burner. I was like this is not an issue for me right now. Like a woman, like that'll come when it comes.
Wow. Yeah, that's really cool.
Premarital counseling. That is something I recommend everybody do. Also, you, Renee, you need that. You need some counseling, Alex.
Tell me about it.
Premarital counseling is something that I was actually, which is funny. I don't know if you want to watch this, she's gonna laugh because she kept trying to convince me to do it. And basically, what it is there's one like proctor type thing or like an advisor. In our case, it was like one of the imams, Yasser Bajaj, and Sheikh Yasser Bajaj. And so basically, like you're on FaceTime, you or Zoom call, whatever, you, her, and the sheikh, and he like walks you through like different stages of marriage, and he like talks to you about like when you first get married, you're gonna be in like a honeymoon phase, like la la la, you're gonna be all in love, and then after that, like disappointment will kick in because you're gonna be like, damn, this is it, like this is all marriage is, and then he talks about like getting through that and like understanding that and like so many different things about like never leaving doubt out there, uncertainties, like making sure you get to the root cause of a problem. So like let's say me and you were fighting about, not me and you, I should say, like, but if you're like fighting with a girl about like something, and then like now she's just being chippy at you, so you start bringing her flowers or chocolate and all that, but like you didn't really like sit down and be like, hey, what's going on? Maybe there's something that like is bothering her genuinely, like deep inside, and she's not also not sharing it, and so because of that, you're always gonna have like these little chippy moments. But if you had just gotten to like the point, what was still bothering you, been able to get to a solution better. But anyway, long story short, she kept trying to convince me to do this premarital counseling thing, and I was like, I'm not trying to do this. That sheikh's just gonna tell me what to do. Like, you need to do this, you need to do that, and I'm like, I'm gonna do what I want, dude. And like, if I tell you to get in the kitchen, you get it out. Just like, and so, but the sheikh honestly like helped me. I felt like helped me more because he was able to open up, facilitate conversations that I think I might have been a little bit, I don't say afraid, but a little hesitant to have with her. And he like really opens up like boundaries. He's like, really, give you homework, like go sit down and talk about boundaries. What are things you're comfortable with? What are you not comfortable with? Like, specific examples. And then like by the end of it, like I felt like I had gotten so much more we had gotten so much more out of it in terms of like understanding each other, which before I thought we knew each other inside and out, which is the funny thing. Because she kept telling me like everybody I talked to says like I learned more than I thought I knew him really well, but I learned more. And I was like, bro, stop playing. But I feel the same way. Like I think even though I felt like I knew her inside and out, like after that, I feel like I learned even more little nuanced things. Because the thing is, you haven't started living together yet. So there's like little behavior things that happen when you're living together, when you're gonna go to events together, and there's like when formality isn't the same anymore. Like all that stuff kind of comes out. But then I felt really good afterwards, and I would highly recommend, everybody do premarital counseling. It'll really open up. It gives you the tools, honestly, like how to have like meaningful conversations with your spouse and being able to resolve conflict and all kinds of different things. I think you have a much more increased likelihood of marital success. Now, I don't know, inshallah, hopefully mine's very successful. But I definitely feel better going into the marriage.
I imagine you did this after you found your girl, but would you recommend someone do this before they find someone?
Yeah, I think you could probably still do some sort of counseling in general if you need it though. Well,
how do you think it would have been different for you if you didn't find your girl? You think it just kind of would have gone over your head because you're not quite in that headspace yet?
That's a good point. Like if I was just doing counseling, you're saying. Yeah, no, I think premarital counseling is a little different, right? It's specifically about relationships. So I think it would have gone over my head because I'm not in a relationship at the time. But I think counseling in general maybe would have been helpful. That's another thing. I think a lot of times people look at like therapy and counseling things like that, and they're like, "Oh, I don't need it. Like I'm right in the head." Which, by the way, I think I am right in the head, and I don't think I necessarily need it. But I also think it helps. Like it's just good to be able to like organize your thoughts because that's all they do. Like if you have a good one, like a good counselor and a therapist isn't going to be like sitting there like making it into a moping session. It's really just meant to be like helping you walk through things and like see different perspectives and like help you organize your own thoughts and like your emotions and all that stuff. I'm saying all that even though I've never actually done any form of counseling or therapy other than premarital counseling, but I know people that have, and that's kind of what I've gotten.
Wow, that's very interesting. I like how you brought that up.
Yeah,
that's cool.
So I would say that's something I would recommend people do for sure before you get married. Ask all the important questions. Like I'm the dad here, right? I'm Big Papa. You listen to me. Make sure you establish that. Put the foot down. Like I tell you what to do. All right. I point. You go make me a sandwich. You know what I'm saying? Like so. Make sure. No, I'm just kidding. It's not a lot. Just make sure you let her know. You know what I'm saying? Who's in charge? You know what I'm saying? You let her know. I'm just kidding. But no, yeah. Like obviously important conversations. Family issues. Oh my god, dude. You're trying to get married, you don't even realize how big of a like you're freaking chachi as a problem or something like that. Like
I was thinking about this in the shower yesterday, actually.
The shower, huh?
No, it actually might have been today where I was like, damn, like imagine like you get married to someone and then, cause like world's small, hey? World comes around.
She's your like a cousin or some shit.
No, like imagine you marry someone, right? And then like suddenly like your worst enemy is attending your wedding. Like that guy, really? Like, yeah, it's my dad's family, friend's son.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, oh God, really?
Yeah, I feel like
that's my cousin, and I hate that person. Yeah, you know what I mean? Yeah. Isn't that kind of awkward?
That's a good point. Yeah.
Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's stuff that's bound to happen.
World is small.
The world is honestly pretty small. Like, what's funny is like one of Iman's really good friends. I don't know if you remember. There was a guy that came here to my housewarming. His name was Isa. He was like a bodybuilder looking dude, Jack.
I don't think I saw him. I think because I came a little later.
Yeah, he left before he came. Anyway, his cousin is like really good friends with Iman. And she was at her dolki, and she goes, "Does your like fiance know my cousin Isa? He lives in Houston. Like, I don't know how she found out that we knew each other." And it's just funny because it was like this is one of Iman's really good friends, and like her cousin was here at my housewarming party, and like one of her closest friends has never even seen. So it was just funny how what a small world, Yeah. And so it's like it's very possible that. Thing is, I don't really have anybody that I specifically hate. Except for the guy right there. That's fine. Stuff a lot. So I don't think that was going to be like a huge issue for me. There are people that maybe I'm just not like I don't mess with them like that, so I wouldn't want them there. But I think it's just bound to happen, and you
Yeah, the
just got to be mature
unknowns.
about it. Yeah, and you would hope that like your partner would also be respectful and know like I don't like this dude, and maybe she would like intentionally not invite them unless it's like a cousin or something. Then she's
Yeah,
like, dude, I gotta call him. But
that's something I was thinking about, bro.
yeah,
I've been to weddings where I'm pretty sure like there's some people there that nobody knows. I mean, quite literally.
oh
Like,
yeah,
you
like when you
know?
come to our wedding, like you're gonna be like, who the heck are these judges and judges and these
Yeah.
random ass people?
And they don't know me either, you know?
Yeah, and
It's
who
like,
knows?
wow.
Maybe you bump into a girl, and your sleeve gets caught in her dupatta,
You
and
never
and the
know.
song starts playing.
And then the songs start playing.
You have your little Shah Rukh Khan moment with her,
Oh yeah.
and guess what? Maybe my wedding becomes your wedding story.
It's possible. You never know.
But honestly, I don't want to put too much pressure and expectations on it. Now you're gonna be hoping for it. So it's gotta happen randomly, you know. It's gotta happen spontaneously.
Yeah, these things. You're right. I like that. These things kind of have to happen spontaneously. Like
Yeah,
your girl, you knew her for so long,
yeah. It
but
never clicked when it really
you
clicked.
clicking with her was kind of random, eh?
Yeah, and it was a wedding in New York, so it was actually one of my friends' weddings that was happening in New York, mutual friend. So we both our families flew out, and it's just crazy. Like out of all the weddings, it was the one that was like maybe I don't know, maybe it's destination weddings. It's like you don't know anybody other than the people that you came with, or like the people that you obviously know from back home, Dallas or whatever. And so maybe you're more like wanting to be around them more because you don't know anybody else. You're in a new city, so who knows? Maybe. But it's just funny. It's funny that it would happen that way. Which is funny. Right before then, a week before, you met my other cousins, Ade, Jack, and Ilya. They live in Virginia, so I went and visited them first, and my sister's there too. And they kept asking me like, "Dude, when are you gonna get married? Like, when are you gonna?" I'm like, "Dude, I ain't got nothing going on. Like, I don't know any girl. Like right now, I'm not talking to anybody. I'm like, I'll think about marriage later, bro. I'm not." They're like, "Bro, come on, you gotta get on the apps. Like, you gotta go like talk to girls. You gotta like." And I was like, I'll see. I don't want to do all that. And then literally 3 days later, I go to this wedding, and I'm like, that's the one. I got it.
Serendipity. Wow.
Serendipity. What does serendipity mean again?
It's kind of like what we like by chance, you know, but it's something
Mm.
like that you. It's favorable. It's kind of random, but it's like pleasant. A pleasant surprise is what it is. Serendipity. You weren't quite expecting it, but it was a pleasant surprise.
Serendipity.
Yeah.
All
Yeah.
right.
It's wild, man. And that's the factor about you and your girl that just is so interesting to me is like you knew her all this time.
Yeah,
And
right.
just, yeah. How much did it shock you when you realized, man, she's the one?
Yeah, no, it did. It definitely hit me. Like I was like, damn, this whole time
Wow.
it was her. It was
Yeah.
her.
That's something one of
I
my
would have
friends always says, Muhammad Rafat. He's like, the girl that you marry, it's either you know her, but you don't know she's your wife, or you don't know her at all, and then eventually you're gonna meet her.
Yeah.
And he's like, either way, it's pretty exciting.
Yeah. That's so true, right? It's a great point.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that is cool, dude. And yeah, as I mentioned, like your age, I think that's so cool. That just it feels so fitting, you know?
Yeah, right. MashaAllah, alhamdulillah. Thank you.
Yeah,
Very fortunate.
yeah. I'm happy for you
Blessed.
because like when I met you, you were looking for your girl, bro. We were at River Road. One of the funniest jokes you've ever made. um, well, they were stacking tables and chairs. They're like, "Hey
Yeah.
guys, could you please help us?" And then you lean back. You're like, "I'm not trying to do that." And I'm looking for a girl who's also not trying to do that. Because so many people they like volunteer for these things, thinking, "Oh, maybe I'll bump into someone." It's like that's the intention.
You know, honestly though, it's not a bad idea. Not a bad idea. If you are actually trying to meet somebody, you bump into her trying to pick up some chairs. Not a terrible idea. I just don't like picking up chairs and all that stuff. I
Yeah.
usually come late to events, so I don't have to be part of the setup crew, and then I leave early, so I don't have to be part of the cleanup crew. I come late, I leave early.
Oh my god.
Yeah, I'm never. But you know, honestly, last time I had a housewarming, you guys and some of the other guys that ended up staying back and like helped clean everything, I didn't have to do jack once you guys left, which I was fully prepared to have to be up all night cleaning. It made me actually realize that like I should probably actually stick around to help clean up because it's like so much more helpful to the person who's
Yeah.
actually doing the party. So I think from now on I might become semi. Well, it depends on the friend. If I really love that friend, then I'll stay for cleanup crew. But if I don't, if it's just like a random invite, I come late, I leave early.
Yeah.
It's funny, Iman is the complete opposite. She's trying to come all the way early, help set up. She'll be there the night before, helping decorate.
Wow.
She'll say that she'll be the last one there.
Do you think, what do they say, opposites attract? Do you think it's like that with you and her, or is there a little bit more dynamic?
Yeah, I think.
Nuance.
Yeah, I think opposites attract in certain things. Like you can't be completely opposite. Like you can't be like an atheist and like a devout Muslim. Like you can be a Hindu and a Muslim. It's never gonna work. You have to generally agree with like values and moralities and principles and all that stuff. And then personalities also need to be the same. Like I think texture. You know, like you need to both like I get in general be friendly or something, or just like have the ability to get along with each other. But like you can have completely different likes and dislikes. I think that's fun. Like maybe she like really likes
Country music.
and you like rap or something. Like that's perfectly fine. You know what I mean? Or like maybe you're a little introverted and she's super extroverted, like extroverted. Like I think that's.
Would you think you and your girl on the same wavelength when it comes to introversion, extroversion?
She's definitely way more extroverted than me, even though I would consider myself to be somewhat of an extrovert. But she's even more. She's like got like 10,000 friends, and you'll see because when you come to the events, like the Mehndi, it's like maybe 350 people, but like the Shadi is pretty much all like the girls' side event, right? So is the Mehndi, but the Shadi you can openly invite more people, and so she invited. I think total, I'm just saying like there's like 450 people coming, but Mavalima, the last event, which is really mine, has like 250 people coming. Because it's like I just don't know that many people. I'm not gonna invite, you know. But it just gives you an idea of like how many more people that she knows. Like she in Dallas, like you walk down, you go to a grocery store, they'll oh your mom, oh an hour, you know, you walk down a random street.
That is very cool.
Me on the other hand, I've got like a good 10, 20 friends that I really, really mess with. But like and then I know other people, but like I'm not like I'm content with the people that I have.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. For myself, I also feel like there's a lot of Houston that I just happen to know.
You do know everybody,
but
you know the whole world actually.
I'm
Houston,
yeah,
really.
I'm curious what it's like for your girl because for me, it's like I remember specifically there was a time I was like, damn, I really don't want to walk into the restaurant. I'm pretty sure I'm like I
that's
don't
the same
want
way.
to. You know?
Iman's always she says the same stuff. She's like, I don't want to go inside. Like I feel like there's gonna be somebody I know that's in there.
Yes.
And like you're probably, I imagine you're the same way. You probably like getting photography, like autographs, like all the time. Like it's probably tough. It's probably tough. You know what I'm saying? Like it's like enough, ladies, enough. Like like only one for one. Like there's only so much of big over to go around. You know what I'm saying? All right, I can only have 4. Stuff along. And so
no, that's hilarious, dude. Yeah. And it goes back to that thing that we were talking about, like small world. And I was actually talking to my mom about this today. I'm like, she was telling me, that's why it's like always a good idea to just be on your A game with everyone you meet because you literally don't know who you're gonna run into.
Yeah. Like initially, I wanted to be a jackass to Renee, but I thought, man, maybe I'll have like a hot sister or some shit. Maybe I should do that. Turned out he did not, and I was just like,
the first time Renee met you, he was telling me, he's like, dude, I want to take notes from that guy. Like his jokes are really popping.
Why haven't you been taking notes, bro? Take a notepad out right now. Take some notes. Transcribe our conversation real time on a typewriter.
Dude, what this is reminding me of actually is some really good advice you gave to me on Miami Beach. You said you should never be vulnerable and hope for the other person to do the right thing.
100% agree.
What does that mean?
You can honestly apply it to any situation. It's like when you are vulnerable in the sense that like you kind of relinquish power. And then, for example, let's say, man, I don't know if I want to take that. I don't want to do that, actually. I'll do another example.
No controversy.
Yeah, no controversy. I don't want to get canceled. But, like, let's say, like, you're in a partnership with someone or a business partnership with somebody. Let's just say, hypothetically, like, oh, you Like I trust you. Like you run everything. Like like or you're in control of everything. Like, you just give me 50%. Well, you control everything. Like sure, like that's a nice thing to do. It means that you're very trusting, but like you are now like completely in the hands of that other person. Like if that person, let's just say he goes on crack for some reason, you're screwed now. And so you basically, and it's not just business. This can apply in really in any a relationship and anything where you like kind of give that other person power in how your relationship will be dictated or how anything in your life will happen. You've opened it up to be completely screwed. Um, you can what you should do on the other hand is keep the power yourself and then just do the right thing. So it's like okay, well, I'm not saying fight for it and be like I want 100% control of the company, for example. But you could be like, all right, let's do 50-50 or something like that. But never wrong that person. Like, make sure if it's his share, you give it on time. Same thing in a relationship. Like I would say, and even in some cases like custody and divorce. Let's just say, right? Like if you're and your wife is batshit crazy. Let's just say hypothetically, then yeah, you should be kind of ruthless in court and like get custody of the kids, get power, have the kids, and now be gracious and be like, yeah, you can also see the kids. Like they're your kids as well. But don't be like I want to do the right. They're also her kids in court, and then now she has full custody, and she's a terrible person. She's not gonna let you see your kids because you wanted to be all good guy all the time. Like what you should have done is been ruthless, got the power, and then you now do the right thing. Okay, you get them for half the days, I get them for half this because she not do that for you. So why would you have given her the power? So like you should always, I think, hold power in your hands. Like you don't make yourself be the one in a vulnerable position and then hope the other guy's going to do the right thing. I mean, they might, sure.
Yeah.
But then you get completely screwed if you ended up doing that. So.
Yeah, it's so interesting. I know Nietzsche talks about this, and also I had a boxer friend, and he knew how to fight. He knew how to fight, and he was talking about this too. He's like, because I know that I'm capable, because I have the power. Um, that's enough for me. I can keep that and do the right thing if I have to, but I don't relinquish that.
Yeah, right. 100%. I agree with that. That's a great point. That's a great point.
Yeah, it's a very interesting thing, and it makes me feel bad because I think sometimes like genuinely good people
they get screwed because
they get screwed, and then it makes them really bitter.
Yeah, exactly.
It creates monsters.
Yeah, exactly, exactly, 100%.
Yeah,
like you don't. Like, that was just a stupid decision. Like do not do that. Being good does not mean being a dumbass. Respectfully, it doesn't. Like, don't be stupid. Like, still hold on to like your power, and then you just do the right thing.
Yeah, I guess part of that is also like maybe laziness, right? Maybe because then it's like you give up something because you expect, hey, maybe this other person will take care of it. It's like no, that was your mistake. That's your lazy mistake.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Could be. But speaking of Miami Beach, I will always remember this as long as Allah gives me memory.
Oh, okay.
You and me had a near-death experience.
Oh my God, we did.
We got chased by a shark in Miami Beach.
We did. We almost died.
Dude, that day.
Damn, Renee, why didn't you come?
I was swimming. I was swimming in the water, and
oh yeah, you got baby mama.
Yeah. I was swimming in that water, and usually when my mom's there, she's like, "Don't go so deep, right?"
Same.
But my mom wasn't there.
Yeah, so I'm going so deep. Exactly.
I went so far, and I remember seeing like to my right and to my left, like nobody else is there, right? Like it's empty. I'm like, damn, I'm kind of far. And then you follow me and you come next to me, and we're just chilling in the water, and we're there for a good minute, right?
You know what I thought about? Also, forget the shark for a minute. Like, what if we got pulled by that current? We were actually pretty far out.
We were.
Like, and the thing was, when we were coming back, I could feel it picking up. I was actually having a little bit of difficulty to
You're right.
Back. Like, and that's it. Like, you're dead. Like, you can't win against the water.
Dude, I remember, so you and me were just chilling in the water, and then the lifeguard blows the whistle. And I remember you're like, oh, we're probably far out. And I casually said this to you. I didn't even mean it, but I'm like, oh, bro, it's probably a shark. And then we're like swimming back.
No, but you know what's funny?
Yeah.
It was definitely there because you know what I didn't realize? The drone.
The drone. I remember
the drone
seeing
was
that.
right here. So I keep looking up at that drone like, man, are they like, I thought they were going to give us a ticket. Like, they're going to give us a penalty. Like, you went too far out. But So anyway, I see the drone, but now that I realize when I looked over, you said I think there's a shark.
Dude,
I probably did see that.
you're getting far ahead.
No,
So I remember. So we're swimming back, right? We're taking our time. We're chilling.
yeah,
We're like the furthest out, and so we see like all these people, like they're literally out of the water now.
yeah.
And we see like that guy on the police bike. Sirens are going off, and there's this dude on there. He's like doing this.
Yeah, he's like pointing. Like remember, he was like there. He's like,
and I'm like, bro, it's probably a shark. And this time when I said, I was still being casual. I was not being serious. And then as soon as I said that, I looked to my right, 2 feet away. I see it in the full flesh. I'm like, bro, it's actually a shark. I remember your face dropped. And you weren't swimming. You were too tall. You were like,
bro, at that point I started running.
And I was swimming for my life, dude. That's crazy.
My legs were on fire. My legs were on fire because of lactic acid. My lungs were on fire.
Oh my god!
By the time I actually got back to shore, I was like dead.
We rolled out, and you were like, "I'm not going out this way." The shark.
I was like, not like this.
We were literally the only ones in the water.
I definitely
That's
had
crazy.
like an adrenaline dump, dude. I think it would have been better if you had me because I would have been more calm. My adrenaline just spiked. And
you would have been taken if you were calm.
Oh yeah. Honestly, what they told us afterwards, that shark was.
That was a great white. We survived that. That was crazy. It was huge.
The beast of a shark.
Yeah, but that's a story we have.
Yeah.
We survived the shark thing, shark encounter.
Damn, Renee, look at that.
It's stories like that kind of just stay with you.
Yeah.
I low key, I did feel like a changed man, and everyone I told this story to said the same thing. Did you give Sadaka? And I was like, yeah.
Dude, I need to do that.
Did they say that to you?
No, nobody said that to me. Nobody cares about me, apparently.
Yeah.
Everybody was like, damn, I wish they had.
What were the reactions you got for that?
People were just like, that's crazy, dude. That's crazy.
Yeah.
But honestly, though, I should give Sadaka. Actually, that's a really good point. Because honestly, what scared me more was I went home like that night, or when I got back from the trip, I should say, I would just like lay down on my bed sometimes and just like see myself in that water again, like all in the back. And I'd be like, damn, like I could have actually forget the freaking shark. Actually, like,
do you know how to swim?
I mean, I'm not a professional. Like, I know how to swim in like regular water. Like, you know, like, but anytime you get like
the waves
and all that stuff, like
they were really picking up, and we were quite literally the only ones at that point. I mean, we were far.
Yeah,
we were far, and I feel like that shark pulled up because we were far.
It came for us.
Yeah,
it came for us. Like big dog. He could sense our energy. Yeah.
Man. And you know, it's funny. I was thinking, I'm like, damn, maybe the only reason I came to Miami was to come face to face with that shark.
To die, actually.
Right.
Dude, you know, I would have felt so guilty because I convinced you to come.
Oh my god.
If you got eaten up, I would have been like, damn, dude, I'm sorry. I had to go see your parents. I had to apologize.
That shark, dude. That shark.
I'm like, I'm sorry, Auntie.
Man.
It's my fault.
Man.
And when we jumped off the yacht,
that was crazy. I think I was the only one who jumped without looking down. Because I remember like everybody would stand up there and they'd look down. They'd have like their like, I don't know, 1 minute of like paranoia. And then they jump off. With me, I remember I just pulled up and then I just jumped. And I didn't see it. So the first time I'm looking at the height was literally when I jumped off. And then I realized in that split second, damn, this is kind of high.
Honestly, for me, it was just like when I would look down, yeah, it was hella scary. But then I would just think like, eventually people kept saying just go. And you really just have to be like, you just have to go. Like you have to just screw it.
Fight or flight.
Yeah. I wish that if I could do it again, I would have actually like maybe dived more or like, you know, just been cooler with the way I jumped. I feel like I literally just like fell off. Like I didn't even jump.
Really?
I just fell off. Like I was just too scared.
Man, that was a fun time. That yacht was cool. That
yacht.
When we went back in to Miami, like sunset time, that was beautiful.
That was beautiful.
That was Miami. That was the Miami that I was thinking about.
Yeah.
You know?
And then the steaks.
Oh man, those steaks.
Some delicious steaks, bro.
Dude, they were legendary. They were legendary. They were halal. They
were extras of BL halal, bro. The goat prayed 5 times a day.
I think it was a cow.
Yeah, that cow. That was a good cow, bro.
Yeah.
Obedient to his parents.
I know we said no controversy, but I heard about this recently. in the Holy Land, they're collecting like red cows, red heifers from Texas
Oh, really?
to like begin the end of times. Kind of out there, huh?
Wait, what? Really?
Yeah, apparently it's like a sacrifice to find the perfect cow, and then end of times begin. Yeah, crazy stuff.
You think we'll be alive when the world ends?
That's a good question. I don't know. I remember hearing every Muslim generation apparently thinks that it's their generation that's like the end of times, but it just never happens to be. So I don't know, but we do live in a strange time, especially with like globalization.
Yeah, yeah. I think it's most likely now. Not now. I mean, like it's more likely now than it was before. And I think every
Certainly.
generation it just gets more. Well, obviously because of time, but also because technology and like there's just more risk now. I think with stuff like that. I mean, obviously there's better healthcare. I mean, maybe not better, but, like there's more resources, so people live more comfortable lives. But there's almost like more lack of purpose. Like there's more reason for people to become violent. I think in a way, like and more reason, and more likelihood of destruction because of nuclear war and all that, and like
Yeah.
robots taking over and AI and all that.
I feel like there's a lot of randomness in our lives, like in our heads. What do you think about that? Is there a lot of randomness in your head?
Hmm. Like random thoughts or like just
Just randomness, because you know that idea of like human beings are always looking for problems. They don't have any, and
yeah,
alhamdulillah, we live in nice times, a nice place, and so it's like just randomness
yeah.
festering here.
I would say no, but I think also because I'm cognizant of it. Like I understand that like you can have a lot of random thoughts. It's not that I don't have random thoughts. Or I don't have a lot of randomness. It's just I understand its randomness. Like I always try to be like very like conscious about the fact that alhamdulillah I live a good life. I've been very blessed. I'm very fortunate, and I try to like remind myself of that so that I don't lose it. Like I'm perfectly content living like a basic suburban life. You know, going on
Yes.
vacation once a year or something. Like I'm content going to freaking paint class, with my wife or something, taking my kids to like soccer practice. Like that is a life I'm completely comfortable and happy living for the rest of my life. Like I don't need the Lamborghini and all that other stuff. I'm not even interested. Like I'm completely content with living like a very basic, reasonable middle class life. Or maybe not even now. Middle class has become poor, honestly. But like like upper middle class, I guess you could say. Like I'm perfectly content because like now I don't think owning a home is even middle class anymore. It's like because it's become so hard to buy houses that if there's something in the between middle and upper, like those people are able to buy houses. But like a regular person is like a regular middle class person is having a hard time buying houses. So I don't know. That's why I said I don't know about middle class, but that's what I'm trying to get at. Like what was known as middle class before, right? For ages was like you grow older, you get a nice job, you buy a house, you live in like a picketed fence, and you live a very basic life. Like I'm perfectly happy. I try to consciously like make sure I don't become like sporadic or like
And I've been thinking about that, and I feel like a large part of that is also like the culture around you. But
yeah,
I kind of feel like culture is really just going downhill
degeneracy.
in so many different ways. I mean, even like the sort of things that are viewed as valuable or like sacred or good.
Yeah. So I think we've reached a point where it's like you question everything type of like let's normalize. I was like I hate that phrase. Let's normalize doing this. Let's normal like how about we don't normalize? Like, how about you feel some shame for your actions? Actually, all right.
Yeah,
Like, we're not normalizing
that's
that.
something
That's disgusting.
there's
We're
a
not normalizing.
psychiatrist talking about this. He's like, when you're feeling shame, like feel that shame and use that terrible feeling to put you in the right direction.
Yeah.
Because
Don't normalize it.
yeah, the
Yeah.
trap is you feel the shame and you're like, oh, I hate this feeling, so I'm just
But
gonna get rid of the shame.
yeah, you convince yourself that it's actually okay. It's fine. It's fine.
Yeah,
And then you just become more like prone to doing
and you
like degenerate shit.
perpetuate
Yeah.
a miserable existence too.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It makes you depressed, and then you can't figure out why you're depressed. Now you're going to therapy. You're getting put on medications and all that other shit. But really, you're just living a degenerate life. Now
Yeah.
that's not the case for everybody that's depressed. I'm just talking about like those specific people in general that are like clearly living an unfulfilling life, and then trying to figure out why that's happening. It's like there's what they say, like the nizam, the alamiyat nizam. Like there's a nature of humans that God has created for us. It's like
Yes.
there's a reason why we feel guilt. Why we feel shame. Like it's because there's a intrinsic morality that has been instilled in us. Like we're supposed to think certain things are wrong, like by nature. It's not about society telling you. Like society didn't tell you this. Like you are, it's ingrained in you. Because you've been dignified as a human being by God. Like you're not an animal. There's a reason why animals eat their own shit and all that other stuff, because they don't have the same consciousness that like has been ingrained in them, like the way God is ingrained in us.
Yeah.
So like there's always like this feeling of like let's just normalize it. Like, let's just normalize. It's like we're not normalizing. This is disgusting. I'm not normalizing it. You normalize it in your own life. But you try to figure out why your life sucks. Well, I'm always sad and depressed. Like I don't know.
Oh my
you're
God.
a degenerate,
Dude, you're one of the few Desi Muslims I know. I feel like I have a pretty American voice, and you're one of the other few that I know that I feel like is the same. Where does this come from for you?
Dude, I don't know. I think it was actually when I used to work at Micro Center. So when I graduated high school, I started working at this computer store named Micro Center, and I think it's in Houston too. There's one in Dallas, and I was customer service there. So I like picked up on a white people voice. Like how you doing? You doing all right there, buddy? Like you want to get you taken care of? Like you find everything all right today, sir? Like very like a white man.
And it's interesting how people treat you for that, right? Like
yeah, they're like he's one of us. He's one of the good Muslims
he's
over
proper.
here.
He's proper.
He's one of the good sand ones over here. He doesn't have it though. They look at you differently.
That is so true. That is so true. And I was watching a Korean movie with my dad the other day, and I was telling my parents, I'm like, isn't this so interesting? Like, all over the world, we wear suits. Like, that's professional. They managed to do that. Yeah. Like the clothes we're wearing.
The whites.
These are not the clothes our ancestors, our grandparents
wore. We're wearing sherwanis and stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Well, I don't know what they were wearing, but yeah. But I mean, also like the British colonized pretty much the entire world, right?
Isn't it interesting how Pakistanis and Indians, like even over there,
they think suits is like
well, they have good English. Is what I'm saying. Like even if it's an accent, it's good English. The Turks don't have the English.
Yeah.
Which shocks me.
Because I think the Turks have a little bit more like, I don't know, maybe pride in the fact that they don't need to be American or something like that, or English to feel like they're valued. But like Pakistan, like I think Indian Pakistanis definitely have that in them.
Yeah.
Maybe it stems from colonialism. Maybe it stems from some sort of inferiority. Maybe it also stems from like we need to move up in life, so we need to have an edge. Like, we need to be good at something, and we need to be good at English because it helps you move forward. There's a lot of reasons for it.
Isn't that just so interesting?
It is. It is.
Yeah, and I think about it. I was talking to my nanny about this. I'm like, man, I feel like I'm so well versed in English, but Urdu, I know it, but I don't know it as well.
नहीं आती है उर्दू कोई बात
आती है लेकिन दूसरी दुनिया है, right? It's another world.
That's true. I think I do better in Urdu with people that already speak it well. I can bounce off of it better.
I like it when you speak Urdu, and it's reminding me of how you told me, dude, you just gotta like flirt with everyone, and not necessarily in a romantic way, but it's a part of your charisma.
Yes.
Talk to me about that.
Yes, charisma. People want to know how to become charismatic.
You are charismatic, and wait.
What does
your charisma?
Charisma.
Hold up. Yes. Your charisma incarnate.
Yeah, look.
You have it.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Charisma is just flirting without romance. It's literally all it is. Charisma is, so for example,
it's a name too, and I like that name.
If you talk to a girl,
Charisma, good name.
If you were talking to a girl and you're trying to, riz her up, as the kids like to say nowadays, the head kids,
tough,
then you would maybe, say something like funny and sweet, and or you maybe say she looks really nice, or you make a nice joke, whatever. You say something to get her to feel good and give her attention. You're basically trying to give her attention, make her feel good, make her think you're like a cool person, make her like you. charisma is the same thing. It's just all you're doing is you're just removing the romantic element. So if you're with an uncle or something, then you do the same thing. You make them feel important. You make them feel liked. You also are a little funny. You're like, oh uncle, आप सुनाए आप कैसे uncle? बच्चे कैसे? आप तो बड़े fit लग रहे हैं uncle. आप क्या अभी gym जा रहे हैं? That uncle feels good. Uncle's like, yeah, I have been going to the gym actually. Yeah. All you're doing is you're trying to make him feel good, and like you're trying to make him feel like you want to have a conversation with him, and you're giving him that intention, and you're giving him that importance. And you can apply it to anything. A random auntie. Auntie makes you chai. You go, auntie, kya aapne chai banai hai? Auntie, the chai is like, and now auntie's feeling like, oh yeah, I'm really good chai. Now she feels, she feels appreciated. Same thing with friends, and then we do this stuff all the time when we're like kind of gay with each other. When we make a lot of gay jokes, like it's basically just that. Like you're just telling the person like, oh dude, man, you look great. Like man, like whatever. You gotta gas that person up a little bit. You're trying to be funny. You just remove the romantic element from it. But it's essentially the same thing. Even with your bosses, when you go for an interview, like I'm not saying kiss ass because there's a very distinct difference. Do not kiss ass. People don't like to kiss ass. But like be charming in the sense of like you make jokes. You also don't want to take yourself too seriously. That's a big part of charisma as well. I think it's just being able to take a joke on yourself, and then and it's always easy to just be like be funny, but it's like just make a joke that that person would laugh to, right? I think a lot of times people tell jokes that like they think is funny. Like that's not the goal here. Like tell a joke that you think that that uncle is gonna find something about cricket funny, right? So something like that. Like uncle, आप तो बेहतर आप खेल सकते हैं, like you play better than them. Uncle like laughing. He thinks he's like, yeah, I'm kind of nice actually. Like, what I'm saying? So you now who knows? Maybe uncle has a daughter, and uncle likes you, so now you're in with the daughter. So like it's an advantageous position to be charismatic with everybody you meet. Well, whoever they are, whether they're like a janitor or something, or they're the CEO, or even if it's just for selfish reasons. I'm not even saying it's because you're such a good person that you're nice to everybody. Even if you're just a selfish piece of shit and you just want things have to happen in your life, if you're charismatic with everybody you meet and just generally polite and like funny and like trying to give them attention and making them feel important, because that's how really charisma is, making them feel important. If they feel important, they think, wow, that guy was so great. Then you're more likely to get things done in your life. You're more likely people want to do stuff for you. More likely people show up for you. There's connections you'll be able to find, doors that open up for you, whether it's career, whether it's girls, whether it's whatever. But yeah, that's really all charisma is. It's just flirting, but just take away the romantic element.
I love it, man, and it goes back small world.
Exactly. You don't know who you know. Like you don't know who knows who.
You don't know.
Turns out this uncle that was sitting next to you at the dog, and then you thought, man, that's good uncle. You weren't talking about it at all. You were looking the other way. You see an uncle sitting next to you. You got seated next to the uncle at the dog. You go up to him, say, "Salam, how are you, uncle? आप कैसे हैं? तो आपके कितने बच्चे?" Uncle goes, "मेरी एक बेटी college में." You go, "अच्छा जी, uncle, कहाँ है बेटी आपकी? आप बताओ भाई, किधर है बेटी?" No, just like,
oh my god. No, I love it, dude. When I used to be a barista, this guy he came up. And I gave him a free cookie. He's like, "Oh, thanks, man." And then he left. And then that weekend, right at the end of the week, my friend and I were going to Austin, but I didn't have a ride, And I was like, "Bro, do you have us with the ride?" And he's like, "Yeah, I got us, bro." So we meet up at this like address of his friend, and so the friend comes out, and it turns out the guy I gave a free cookie to is my ride to Austin.
Oh,
I mean, how random is that?
Yeah.
So
that's so funny.
How different would things have been
if you didn't give him that cookie?
I didn't give him that cookie. Crazy.
That cookie saved you what? $40 worth of gas.
Actually, it did. It did. Man, it was wild. But you're right, dude. You're right. And it's a way of life. It's a way of being. Just charismatic. Yeah. And I love how you're saying this because it's reinvigorating that passion in me. I gotta say, like for the past year or so, I don't feel as charismatic. I feel like I was much, much more vibrant and colorful around people. Now I'm just like kind of quiet in the room, like, okay, hello, how are you? Kind of reserved, But you're right, charisma, it's there. So with that being said, how do you be charismatic without getting your feelings hurt? Because not everyone responds to that beautifully.
That's a good point. I think being able to judge the other person's energy is also important. So let's just use the uncle example, right? You say something to the uncle. You try talking to the uncle. If he's just giving you one word response, like, oh, like then like don't invest more than you need to. Like because you're once again, it's the same thing about putting yourself in a vulnerable situation just to get hurt. Like that person, it does not want your energy or your attention. And who knows? Maybe like that person's even going through something. Like they don't really owe you anything. So like give them that respect and that grace, and then also like have your own self respect. Like you don't need to be sitting there like trying to make some random uncle happy.
Yeah.
He doesn't want. He doesn't want to talk. He doesn't want to talk to you.
Don't
and
kiss
like
ass.
yeah, don't kiss ass, exactly. And so it's the same thing with a girl. I think a lot of times with guys like they keep trying to impress the girl, like if she's not into you, like she's not into you, she's not going to become into you the more you kiss her ass. If anything, she might actually be a higher probability of getting into you if you stop giving her attention. She's
Yeah.
gonna be like, damn, why is he not telling me anymore?
I read a meme. It was like so many guys don't know how to deal with a girl that isn't giving them customer service attitude.
Oh, that's a great point. Yeah,
100%. But please continue.
Yeah, exactly. And so it's like you see her at the party, you're at the dawa, you're at the party, whatever. You're talking to the girl, you're trying to chat her up, and she's just kind of giving you like mild response. Yeah, I'm all right. Whatever. I'm okay. Whatever. Then you're just like, all right. Like, first of all, why do you want to be with a boring girl like that to begin with? Like, all right, if she's got no personality. I mean, saying, yeah, okay, I guess, cool. Like, who's trying to be with that anyway? It's a boring ass girl. So, number one. Number two, if she's not really giving you anything to work with, and like, just be like, all right, cool. And like, you don't need to be rude. That's another thing. I hate some dudes do this stuff where they're like assholes. Well, you're a bitch anyway. Like, wait, what? Like, just because she don't like you, she's not a bitch, bro. Like, you obviously thought. And now she's ugly all of a sudden. Like before he walked up to her, he was like, "Oh, you look beautiful today. I really like this. I wanted to see if I could get your number." And now she's like, I'm actually okay. I don't want to. And oh, you're ugly anyway. Like, all right, wait, what the heck? Like, you literally just called her beautiful. Like, why is she ugly now? It's because she rejected you. So she's not ugly. Don't be disingenuous. Don't be dishonest. Be truthful. Just be like, all right, whatever, and then just leave. Like, you don't need to give that girl that much attention. Don't let it take up space in your mind. She says no, another 10 will say yes. There's plenty of fish in the sea, right, Renee?
Yeah, plenty of biryani in the pot.
Plenty of biryani in the pot. Plenty of fish in the sea. Plenty of cattle in the barn. Plenty of chicken in the hay. You know what I mean?
Plenty of sharks in the water. One of them will find you.
Yeah, exactly. It'll bite you.
Man, that's wild. Yeah, I love that. And yeah, I think that's something I'm mostly interested in these days. It's like, how do you balance that? The world is not always going to respond to you beautifully.
Yeah.
But you still got to have your best presentation, your A game, and don't let that hurt your feelings. Just figure out a way to balance it. That's where I'm at right now.
I usually give people a couple tries. Like, for example, if I see somebody, let's say, I don't know, let's say me and your friends, like your brother. I don't know if you have a brother, but let's just say you have a brother. And he's like also here. Let's imagine he's not like a kid, like he's an adult. And I'm like, oh, hey, how are you? Your brother, like, what do you do? Like, I'm glad to meet you and everything. And he's just like really like, no, whatever. He's not giving me anything. Like, because you're my friend, like, and that's your brother, then I don't want to be like a dickhead, right? So I'm gonna keep trying maybe a couple more times. Like, hey, like, you want some water? Hey, you want to eat something? Whatever. Hey, you doing all right? You want to like whatever? Maybe 2 or 3 more times, because I want to be courteous to the fact that he's also your brother. But if he like completely is not interested in me, then like at that point, like I need to have my own self-respect and be like, all right, like I'm just
gonna withdraw.
I'm gonna withdraw. Like,
hands off the table.
Exactly. Like, you can put in extra effort for people you really care about. Like if it's like your friend's like close relative, it's your friend's wife, or like your, I don't know, your mom, somebody's dad or something like that. It makes sense. But like at some point, like you gotta talk to this guy. You don't need to be like, you're stupid or not. You don't need to do that. But like you can just slowly like, all right, so Omar, how are you? You know what I mean? Just cut the brother off at that point.
And then people like that you don't get along with. I'm curious for you. What are your reactions, or what are your interactions with them after that? Is it just you try your best not to interact?
I just avoid that person after that.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if I feel like it's just bad energy after that, and then after that, anytime I see them, I'll just like I'll still be respectful. Like if I see them, I'm like, oh, how are you? Like,
polite nod.
Hey, yeah, one of these.
Yes.
But then
Kennedy.
But I'm not gonna like go out of my way to talk to that person. No, screw that person.
Yeah, you got to know That's life, man. You got to know when to keep your cards on the table or your chips on the table, when to take them off. Yeah, but halal, keep it halal. No gambling.
Hello, poker.
Yeah. There's this really random, but X-Men '97. There's this great line because Gambit dies in there. Every gambler has a tail. Every gambler has a tail. Gambit's was modesty, and I was like, damn,
Every gambler has a tell.
yeah, but Gambit's was modesty.
Mm.
That was a cool line. I think that's the line. I think it was really cool. Just wanted to point that out. But um, do you have any closing thoughts, man? Anything you felt like you wanted to say, you didn't get a chance to, something on your mind that you wanted to express?
Closing thoughts. I'm glad you had me on. It's been a great conversation. Um, I would say I think you're very inquisitive and like thoughtful and like a good listener. I think like this is a good little. This is like something that I think you're good at, and I would just say support you through your next few episode, whatever you would decide to do, because I think you're very creative in that sense. And so, just wishing you well with everything you do. And this, I know this is kind of like a not like a career right now. Who knows? Maybe become one. But whatever, like a passion for you. And so, like, wish you the best in whatever you do with this. Yeah, if you ever need any, like, I don't know, if you need the table, and you can have any other guests on, or any equipment, feel free to reach out. But otherwise, I had a great time, great conversation.
I had a great time too. I will remember you as a friend, dude.
Damn, like he's basically breaking up with me. He's like, I'll remember you, bro. Like I'll remember you as a friend, like as if I'm dying tomorrow or something.
We've had some good memories, I'll always remember that.
It's like a breakup.
Breaking the spell, that was epic.
Oh,
dude, Alex's party, that was hilarious. You want to tell that story real quick?
I don't even know what this.
Or actually, how about okay? So I reach out to you boys. I'm like, hey guys, my friend, he invited me to his party. You guys want to pull it through? And everybody's like, yeah, sure. And then you come in, you're dressed very nicely. You bought these fancy pies.
I was hoping there would be some cute girls there.
And then you walk in.
And it was like the ratchetest party ever, dude. Was Renee at that party?
You was.
Oh my god. Dude.
Swampy.
Swampy. Oh my god, dude. Some weird ass dudes those guys were.
Oh my god. And that was the night where we went to the ice cream shop afterwards in Hillcroft. Crazy. Yeah. Broke the spell. A good time, man. Good memories. I appreciate you being here. I guess one final question for you. I read this book called Total Effing Godhead. It's the biography of Chris Cornell. And for some reason, the writer decides to mention how Timothy Comerford doesn't believe that the moon landing was real.
Mm.
And he apparently had these, he always had these suspicions, but I think he had like a conversation with Buzz Aldrin or something, and that confirmed his suspicions. Are you at liberty to tell us?
Yeah,
was the moon landing real?
I'll have to kill you if I tell you, but that's the decision you've chosen to make. So, no, I'm kidding. I'll tell you. Yeah, no, it's all fake. Actually, I do the CGI. Actually,
and aliens are also fake. Is that true?
Aliens, yeah, those are probably fake. Yes, I mean, aliens. We'll get into aliens in a second. Let's do the moon first. The moon landing, yes, I believe it was real. And the reason why I say that is because it takes a lot of people's efforts, a lot of engineers, a lot of scientists, a lot of just regular admin people, like a lot of things to put together something like this. And you would essentially need everyone to be in on it, And so that's one reason that makes it difficult. Two, there was a space race with Russia happening at the time. And so if anybody would have said it was fake, it should have been Russia, right? And Russia never came out and said anything about that. A lot of the doubts that people have about like why did we lose the technology? One thing for people to understand is there was a time during that space race where the United States federal budget, I think, was 25% was going to NASA, which is an insane amount. To compare it now, it's like maybe 0.4%. Right, so it's not even a full percent now. And so when we say now we're having a harder time, why has it been 50 years? Why are we not able to go back? It's because we're not anywhere close to the amount of money that was being put in. And another thing is there was almost no regard for safety in those times. It was just like it was considered like an effort toward winning a war. So like those astronauts were fully prepared to die. Like they weren't going up there thinking like we're gonna 100% make it. There was a very high chance they would blow up, they would die. So they would go to their family, say goodbye, and they were all like ex-military. As opposed to now, every astronaut isn't ex-military anymore. You could just be like really smart PhD who did some research or something. And there's so many safety regulations now. And I work in safety, so I'm telling you, like every little thing, the zipper on a bag, it needs to be make sure it's fault tolerant, make sure it doesn't accidentally open, because if the zipper accidentally opens and there's something sharp in there, it could get out and it could poke somebody's eye and then you could kill them. And so there's such a stretch that we go through when we there's so many more regulations that it's so much harder to send anything to space. The stuff that was getting sent back then would have never been certified. But it's being certified now. In order to certify that same stuff, you have to make sure there's so much safety put in place that it over-regulates everything. Obviously, safety is important, but I'm just saying like it makes it so much harder, and your federal budget is nowhere near the same that it used to be. So the reason why we were able to get to space back then, we had a ton of money, and we had no regard for safety. And so if we had the same situation now, I promise we would have been in Mars by now, like 100%. And so. And a lot of the conspiracies that exist about like the boot sizes and match and all that stuff, like people are looking at the wrong thing. There's an undercover that you put inside of the shoe too that people completely neglect. The cameras. Where's the camera? Who's recording it? There was cameras out on the outside of the vehicle. That's how they were getting it. The flag waved. There's something called momentum. People don't understand that in space, even if there's not air, there's still momentum. So like things move, right? So like if you're in space and every action has a reaction, whatever, right? Object stays in motion unless it's active. So the flag will still move to some extent if you've put some force into it. Eventually it'll stabilize and then it won't move anymore because there's no air coming. But when you first landed it, it was going to wave a little bit because there's enough momentum to cause it, right? So I'm just answering a few of these like conspiracies. There's a bunch more, but like when I really started to work there and like being a part of NASA and being part of the whole thing and seeing the amount of effort we put into the smallest things, like there's like meetings we have over like toilets and stuff like that, you know, like I remember being part of like a whole like board meeting that was like 50-60 people where we were talking about like how the toilet needs to operate and like, you know, because there were some issues with the toilet or something like that. I've been on in console with like basically like, and there's like a mission evaluation where we put on headsets and we watch the monitors and I've been in there where the astronauts have gone out to like connect some Ethernet cables on the outside of the ISS. And that's it. They were just connecting Ethernet cables, you know? And so there's like 90% of maintenance. There's like 90% of the work is boring as hell. There's nothing cool happening actually 90% of the time. The few percentage of the time when we actually go out and do something cool, a telescope, a this, or that stuff gets broadcasted, but nobody sees all the backlog of work that's just like paperwork and writing hazard reports and writing paper and, you know, all that other stuff that's like so incredibly boring that you think to yourself, like, who is faking this? Like, well, who is putting in billions of dollars to fake a toilet meeting? Like, why are we sitting here discussing a toilet, you know, if it's really fake, you know what I mean? And so, yeah, like space travel is real. We've been to the moon. We've actually been to the moon numerous times, which is something people don't understand. People think we went to the moon once, but we've actually been 6 times. Neil Armstrong, Buzz Aldrin, Jim Lovell. Well, actually, I don't know if Jim Lovell. I think Jim Lovell was actually Apollo 13. He never went on the moon. Actually, wrong name. But Pete Conrad, you know,
Harrison. It's so crazy. Like, so talking about all this history, you live in like the suburban neighborhood you live in is like the thing I would think I'd seen like a NASA movie.
Yeah.
You know? And like it's literally here. It's like literally here. It's crazy.
Yeah, NASA's just 15 minutes down the street.
Insane.
And then the alien thing.
You're protecting us, aren't you? Every day.
I've been fighting these aliens. We actually have a little alien that we kind of been torturing, trying to get some information out of him. That hasn't been going that well. I guess he's speaking a language we don't understand. But in terms of aliens, the aliens is an interesting one. I would say there's definitely a possibility aliens exist, and maybe not even in the sense of like right now. Maybe there was aliens that existed like 2 billion years ago. Who knows? Maybe there was another Earth-like planet that existed 2 billion years ago. There was a whole civilization. and that civilization is now gone because their Earth was eradicated.
Yeah, cosmic gins.
Well, let's just say like it's entirely possible that there was other human, like maybe not human, but other life that existed elsewhere, and that maybe they're just so far from us, or lived in a time that was so many hundreds of billions of years away, like not billions, but like millions of years away from us, that like we wouldn't know, like, because there's no way for us to be able to contact that. And so I think that's a possibility. But I heard a quote once that was really good, that made me go like, wow. Somebody said the possibility of there being aliens and the possibility of there being no aliens is equally as terrifying, because it means that A, there's somebody out there other than us, or B, there's nobody out there. And there's never been anybody else there. And we are literally the only human being, the only life to have ever existed in the entire universe. Which almost makes it even more like, holy shit, you know what I mean? But yeah, that's my thing on the aliens. Yeah.
Yeah, that was cool.
A little science for you, a little science nerd.
You've convinced me. Scientology is the way.
Oh, Balude.
That sounds like Lord of the Rings or something. Elves singing.
Is that what they say?
Yeah. Are you a Lord of the Rings fan?
I'm not.
Dude, Lord of the Rings, it's just amazing. I think you would like it.
I think I would too. I just don't have the energy to watch 6 movies.
Yeah.
Maybe
it took
one
me
day.
time, but I watched it. But this was fun, man.
It was great.
I had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Thanks
Thank
for
you for
being
having
here.
me. Thank you.
Good time.
Am I the first in person? No, there was
There's a couple more, but this felt a little bit more official. You know, I appreciate these mics.
Yes. I hope they actually work.
I really hope they
caught
actually
the
work, too.
audio. There's a chance that it maybe went in and out, but
Let's see.
alrighty.
Oh, thank God, it's still recording.